You found the Sales Hunter podcast. My name's Mark Hunter. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about, hey, sales is not a solo activity. Let me tell you something. If it's a solo activity, you're not going to last long. I want to ask you this question. Who's on your team? I'm going to share with you 7 strategies right now, and the show begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
Okay, it can be awfully lonely being in sales, especially if you're working from home, you're working out of a bedroom, you're working out of a basement, you're working out of a laundry room. Oh, and it gets pretty depressing, pretty boring pretty quickly because again, you're flying solo and you're not getting the conversations, you're not having the contacts, and the ones that you do just don't seem to go right. Well, let me tell you something. It's time you get the right people on your team. Let's go through 7 things right now. First of all, you got to realize that we become the sum of the 5 people we associate with the most. Now, I didn't come up with that line. Jim Rohn said that line a number of years ago, and it applies so well. You know what? Your mothers were right when they said, be careful of the friends you play with on the playground at school, because it is amazing. Who you hang out with is who you're going to become most like. So let me tell you something. Let's walk through these 7. Who are you having breakfast with? Who are you having coffee with? You see, you can't live in a cave. And the reason I bring up coffee or breakfast is because it's the first thing in the morning. It gets you going. This morning, I had breakfast with a good friend, and we discussed a number of business issues. But what does it do? It gets you motivated. It gets you pumped. I'm gonna challenge you. Who are you talking to first thing in the morning? Now, I don't do breakfast out with somebody every morning, but I do it a couple times a week. Why? Because it allows me to surround myself with the right people. And if I can't grab breakfast, it's going to be coffee, but I'm going to connect with people. And if I can't do it in person, I'm at least going to do it online. Several mornings each week, I start off early with a Zoom call with a peer, somebody else who we're just talking about the business, talking about life for 15 or 20 minutes. Why? Because again, I'm putting the right people on my team. 2, I belong to several trade groups, industry groups that affect my industry. And I'm going to encourage you, if you do not belong to industry trade groups, this might be a chamber of commerce, it might be something else, but I belong to several trade groups. Why? Because they allow me to create connections. They allow me. One is the National Speakers Association. I've been very actively involved in it for about 20 years. And it allows me to connect with other people. We can discuss common issues. I belong to another group called Success North Dallas. And this is just a peer group of several hundred people. And what does it do? It allows you to come together. It allows you to create connections and have conversations. And again, you're not flying solo. Number 3, actively give referrals. Actively give referrals. Now, hey, we all love to get referrals. Totally get that. But I'll tell you what, I love giving referrals. Why? Because it helps motivate me. It helps change me. And you know what's interesting? When I'm giving a referral, I'm putting somebody on my team, whether or not they realize it or not, because I'm now giving them a gift. Again, I'm not expecting referrals in return. But just in the last couple of days, I've given out several referrals, and sure enough, I've had several come back. Now, I do this on a regular basis. But again, it's how I put people on my team. Number 4, use networking events to motivate you and create connections. You know what's interesting is there have been several networking events that I've attended over the years, and they've been part of various trade groups I belong to another, and I have met key people. Now, it's interesting. At the time I meet these key people, it's nothing. It's just a connection. But over the years, I've had several of these turn into 7-figure opportunities. In other words, over the years, we've created more than 7 digits worth of business for both of us. And this is absolutely huge. Now, again, it didn't start out that way. It started out as just a relationship, just a connection that was nurtured and continued to grow and grow. I'm continuously trying to do this. But what does it do? It puts more people on my team. And as a result, then there are text messages I get throughout the day from various people who I've connected with, worked with, and they're sharing with me things that they're working on, things that they're doing, and I'm sharing with them. And what does it do? It helps motivate me. You see, one of the things about really that solo activity is because you become demotivated. And that's why you can't look at sales as a solo activity. You have to look at sales as a team sport. Another thing that I do, and I'm going to challenge you to do, is create your power list. Create your power list of people who you want to meet and get outside your comfort zone. A couple of years ago, I moved here to Dallas. And I knew a number of people here in Dallas because I've been working off and on in the Dallas area for a number of years. But I made a list of I wanted to make a list of 100. I couldn't get to 100. I got to about 75 or something like that. And these were people who I didn't know, but I wanted to connect with. And you know what's interesting? About 2 years later, I'm really only about half, or maybe I'm 2/3 of the way through the list. But along the way, I have met a ton of other people who have in turn connected me with other people. I've made connections with well over probably a couple hundred people during that time. And some of those people, okay, it's a one-off conversation, isn't going anywhere. But others, guess what? Things are materializing and it's happening. You see, when you make a list like this, and oh, by the way, the majority of the people on that list, I didn't know. I did not know. And many of these people I reached out to cold. I just said, hey, let's connect. And we connected. And they in turn connected me with other people. Next week, I'm having lunch again with another person for probably about the fourth or fifth time. And this was a person who I didn't know, but I got to know by way of somebody else who was on my list, who I did not know. But I got to know that person. You see, and what does it do? It creates business. It creates opportunities. And what does it do? It increases your circle. It increases your circle of knowledge, your circle of connections. Just yesterday, I had one of those people reach out to me with a business question about their office. They, like me, kind of a solopreneur. Yeah, we both have small teams of people, but by and large, we kind of work independently. And they had a question about some things that they were doing in the business. And I was happy to share. And that's this whole piece. But again, it allows me to never feel like sales is a solo activity. Number 6 is watch what you read and listen to. This is absolutely key because I don't have time for negative voices. I'm an extreme optimist. And negative voices, I ditch. I get them out of my life because I don't want them around because they're very fatal to me. They are absolutely fatal to me. So I watch websites I look at, articles I read, books I read, etc. I stay with the positive voices. And number 7, this is absolutely, without a doubt, the most important one. I want you to create a mastermind. And I want you to both create a mastermind and join a mastermind. And these are two separate pieces. One, I want you to create a mastermind. And these are masterminds of just 2 or 3 people who you can absolutely collaborate with on a regular basis. I'm part of a mastermind group, 4 other people in it besides me. So there's 5 of us in it. And it's morphed and evolved over the last 2 or 3 years. But believe me, we're all incredibly successful because of the strength of the other people in the mastermind group. And what happens is we each lift each other up. It's absolutely huge the way it works. Then I want you to join a mastermind. Now, the reason I say this different because join a mastermind group is going to also bring into you a lot of outside voices and other pieces of a mastermind that I'm going to share with you is the Sales Logic Mastermind. It's if you follow me for any length of time, you know I have another podcast called Sales Logic Podcast, and with Meredith Elliott Powell. And in that podcast, we've created a mastermind. And I'm going to encourage you to take a look at that podcast, and more importantly, take a look at the mastermind and join us in that mastermind. Because again, it's absolutely powerful. You see, what am I talking about here today? I'm talking about helping you create a team. Surround yourself with a team, irregardless of whether or not you work for a corporate and you're part of a larger sales team or you're by yourself. See, if you work for a corporate group, which is great, fine, nothing wrong with that, you're going to find yourself, you are extremely one-dimensional. and you don't necessarily have the outlets that you need. This is why I'm going to say, I want you to apply the 7 things I shared about. If you're a solopreneur, you don't have the resources and you need the 7 things. See, this applies for every single person. And again, I've seen these results prove out time and time again. Hey, I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. You've been listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. What is it about? It's about helping to share you with ideas and strategies that can help you be more successful. Because when you are, you're able to influence and impact others. And when you are, you're then able to help them see and achieve what you didn't think was possible. Each week, you get 2 episodes from me. One, a short one like this, okay, a little bit longer. And the second one, a longer, in-depth, where we go into a subject matter expert. Hey, I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Great selling.